Well, good morning, everybody, or happy evening, wherever you might be in the world. This is Monica Powell, the graduate dean here at the Jindal School. I have some colleagues with me this morning. As you know, registration has started for spring 2021, and we are predicting, which is appropriate given that we had a national election here in the US last night, we are predicting that some of you probably have questions that are around the topic of registration. So I have two colleagues with me here today. I have Angela Howard, who's the Assistant Director for Graduate Advising from our advising office. Angela, you want to say hello to our crowd this morning?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, she is sitting there in front of what? Lake Michigan?
Yes, Lake Michigan.
Of course, not really in front of Lake Michigan, but it looks like she's in front of Lake Michigan.
This is real.
I also have our Assistant Dean for Master's Programs with us today, Dr. David Widdifield. Dr. David Widdifield, would you like to say hello to our audience?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I may have been talking to some of you just before this, so I know we had a couple questions come in.
And you were sitting there in lovely, in what, the town square at the foot of a bridge in Germany somewhere.
Yeah, Nuremberg, Germany, where we used to live. Yep.
Yeah, so we are very global kind of today. And then, of course, our master producer, Norma, is sitting in her Frank Lloyd Wright beautiful home somewhere in beautiful America. And I am here at the Jindal School flying overhead in my drone mobile. So without further ado, let me make a few introductory comments this morning. Number one, registration and enrollment appointments did start on Monday. And the spring 2021 schedule has been out there for now a little bit of time for students to look at it. We have had a lot of students that have questions about it, and we really do want to answer those questions that you might have this morning. We welcome any questions around the topic of registration. But before we get to your questions, let's see if we can let Angela address some of them right out of the gate, because Angela has 5 hot tips associated with spring 2021 course registration. So Angela, let's see what your hot tips are and see if we answer any of the students' questions right out of the gate.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Powell. You really talked me up, so thank you. For registration in general, not just spring 21, there are a few things you need to make sure that you are mindful of. Number one is to look at that academic calendar. It is on our website at utdallas.edu. It's important for you to know all the dates that are on there, like the first day of registration, which has begun for all of us, the first day of classes, and then your payment deadlines. Those are 3 of the most important dates that you should really look at. If you do not have that calendar already saved somewhere, please do so in your phone or on your laptop, wherever you look at dates. Please save those. Next is to check your enrollment date. As some of you have already started enrolling because you're going to be graduating soon, the enrollment dates started on November 2nd, and then they go through the entire week. And then after that, it's open enrollment. So please be sure to check in your Orion Student Center for your enrollment date. It is located in your Manage My Classes area. If your enrollment date has not started yet, you can't enroll at all yet, and we can't enroll you. So I know some people want to contact us to enroll them early, but we can't even push through that enrollment date. The next is to know your enrollment or your degree plan. This is all found in the catalog. It just doesn't matter what your program is, it is located there. So be sure to look at what your requirements are. For the core, it's very important to check what your core classes are for different programs. You do share them with other degree programs. So if you're in 2 programs, you may have classes that are shared. So just be sure to check what you need to take. If you're not sure what electives you should be taking this semester, reach out to the programs. They are located in that catalog, but you may have a specific class that you want to take for your career and you're not sure how that's going to fit in your program. Reach out to the programs and to advising so we can help you with a degree audit if needed. The next is to, if you have not done so and you're brand new, submit the MAS 6102 program prerequisite waiver.
If you're going to waive it.
If you're going to waive it.
You may be required to take it.
Yes, so you do have to enroll in it if you're in your first semester. But if you look at the waiver requirements, you can see if you meet that. If you think you do, you can submit it. If you're not sure that you meet it, you could ask us. We can at least look at it a little bit in advising, but you really do need to check what those requirements are if you want to submit that waiver. But if you meet that requirement, submit it now. Do not wait. Because if you wait and don't let us know you want to waive that class, we're going to put a hold on your account for next semester's registration. So do the MAS 6102 process as soon as possible. Take it your first semester or waive it your first semester. So those are my main tips. But
so
Dr. Powell, do you have any other?
Five, your hot top 5 were definitely hot, but I have 2 more.
Okay, I'm ready.
So explain the difference between a prerequisite and a co-requisite.
So, bless you. A prerequisite is a course that you must complete before you either go into the rest of your program or take another class. So, for example, supply chain students have to take OPRE 6301 before they can take one of their other core classes. I think it's OPRE 6366. So you have, is that correct?
And, yep,
yes.
You got it, Angela. Because I'm going to bring a follow-up question to you that was just asked this morning too.
Okay. So you do have to have that class completed before you can move on to the other higher level classes. A co-requisite is a class that you can take, 2 classes you take together. So for supply chain, it's OPRE 6301 and OPRE 6302. Those 2 are co-requisites that you can take at the same time. Or sometimes people take 01 before 02, but as a student, if you see co-requisite, it is great to take them together. There's a reason why they put them together. So that's the main difference.
Well, thank you, Angela. And so I have another question. I'm giving you the popular questions asked of the graduate dean.
Okay.
So what if I want to take 2 classes that are at the same time, but I'm planning on taking one of the classes synchronously and the other class asynchronously? Can I enroll in 2 classes that occur at the same time and day on the schedule?
That was my question as well, Monica.
Okay.
Beat you to the draw.
So, if this was not 2020, I would say no. You would not be able to do that. However, because we are doing asynchronously having classes, that is possible. You will have to first get permission from both professors, written permission, so via your UTD email, that they say that it is okay for you to take our classes at the same time. And if you have that, you can send that to the advising office, JSOM GR advising at utdallas.edu, and we're able to enroll you once your enrollment time begins. But you have to have permission from both, not just one. We need both professors to agree, because we don't want something to happen where you do have to be in class, even if it is remotely, at that time, and the other professor is saying, oh no, you need to be in my class as well. So we want to make sure it's okay.
It will work out. Now, if for some reason there is not a faculty member listed on the schedule and that schedule says staff, then you need to reach out to your program director who can offer that approval on behalf of that undesignated faculty member. And that's been probably the #1 most popular question to the graduate dean this week. So thank you, Angela, for a wonderful top 7 hot topics in course registration. Now I have a question, an important question for Dr. Widdifield.
Yeah.
So Dr. Widdifield, we've had a number of incoming new students who are in dire need of a face-to-face class, namely OPRE 6301. On the schedule right now, you'll see that all of those classes are remote with one section online. But Dr. David Widdifield, I'd like to give you a drum roll. Can you please tell our listeners about the additional section that will be added and that they will see?
I can indeed. So what we're going to do is we're going to change one of our fully online asynchronous, and this is the question I have for Angela too, fully online asynchronous sections over to an in-class. Right now, I'm working with both JSOM Academic Operations and UTD Registrar to get that established. We should have that active for Angela and her team tomorrow, is what I'm hoping to see. So everyone on this call, as well as all the grad students who need that course as a prerequisite, will have that option, that face-to-face option. Just for your record, for folks who are on this here, the professor will be Avanti Sethi. He's going to be teaching that for us for the OM. Yes, yeah, that was a huge help for Avanti to do that. But yep, we'll be having that course, and it should be, you guys should see it out there in about 48 hours.
That's perfect. Thank you, David, for that. That is an important course that is a core requirement for many of our STEM-based degrees. So if you are an incoming, brand new international student who's gotten your visa and you're coming here to enroll and be a student in January, you must take one face-to-face class. And so that is a good one for you to choose, and we want to try and put as many of you into that course as possible so that you can meet that face-to-face requirement. Now, if you were an FV student last fall, just remember, doesn't have anything to do with this OPRE 6301 class, but if you were an FV student in the fall, you will also need to be enrolled in a face-to-face class if it is the first time you are here in the United States. So if for some reason you have difficulties doing that, or you're challenged by doing that, I encourage you to send an email to jendal@utdallas.edu, and we'll work with you and your program director to figure out how to make that happen for you. So please don't panic, because we can help you out. So, so David, do you have any great advice for students who are in the process of registering right now from a program director's perspective? Because David is not only the assistant dean for master's programs, but he is also the program director for supply chain.
Yeah, sure. So I think what the best advice, and these have been a lot of messages that I've been getting throughout the week, even late last night and early this morning. How do I find those face-to-face options? What is a face-to-face option? There tends to be a lot of students who think that the face-to-face is only the one that meets every week in the classroom, a traditional mode. But honestly, a face-to-face option to meet that requirement can be using the traditional, it can use the blended, and it can also use the flex mode. Those are the three face-to-face options that you have available to meet that requirement for your visa status. And these are the questions that continue to come up. It comes to me, it's coming to Angela and her team about what those options are. So that's really the biggest one. The other advice, and then Dr. Powell and Angela, I want your input on this as well. The questions I'm getting is, okay, if I want to take a class and it's a face-to-face option, do I have the ability to take it when I need to asynchronously? And the answer that I've been giving is yes, you have that. Yes. Your requirement is to inform the instructor that you need to attend asynchronously. I have a student right now who has a work conflict that I'm working with, but you can take that. What I want to point out, unless you are taking a class that is a fully asynchronous, completely online, an OWX section, all of the work is to be turned in as specified by the instructor syllabus. What I've seen students in my program get in trouble with is they thought that because they took a course asynchronously, that was not a fully online course. They could complete the work whenever they needed, and that was and they lost points on it. And I don't want to see anybody do that.
Yes, I want to emphasize that, David, because I think that is a really important point. All of our class modes, all 5 of them, a student can opt to attend asynchronously. And that's because the university is trying to be incredibly sympathetic and empathetic given the constraints of COVID. You know, your work schedules might change, you might have small children at home, you might have COVID yourself. Can't come to campus. So any of the modes, traditional, hybrid, flexible, remote, all of those can be asynchronous, meaning that you don't attend live in a streaming mode. You can go and you can get a link out of e-learning and go and watch that class recorded. The last mode over here on my pinky, which I can't really move very well, is our fully online, which is always asynchronous. But let me be perfectly clear. None of our course modes are self-study. They all have a syllabus and a calendar. They all have a weekly schedule. They all have a calendar where you are expected to turn in, watch things, turn things in, engage in student projects. So don't think that if you're signing up for a self-study course. This is real graduate school, and we stick to the semester calendar.
Mhm.
So that was great. Thank you, David. You directed us right exactly where I wanted to be. Okay, so let me get control over my drone here. I'm flying a little perky this morning, up a little too late with the election, had a little bit too much coffee. So let's find out from Norma the great questions that we have from our students. So Norma, what questions do we have from the audience?
We've got a lot of great questions. So this one is from an international student, and it's kind of a two-parter, so bear with me. For a current master's student studying on an H4 and planning to get converted to F1 for spring 2021, is it mandatory for me to enroll in at least one face-to-face course for spring 2021? They're asking this because they are already pursuing their master's in the USA and have not left the country, and they're unsure if the rule applies in the case. And then I'll ask the second question in a bit.
The rule applies to them. If they are changing their visa status to F1, they must be in a face-to-face class. So the answer to that question is yes. That is such a complicated and great question. So thank you to whomever asked that question. But yes, choose one of the traditional, hybrid, flexible options as one of your choices so that you can stay in line.
So the second part of that question was asking about which course modes. Can you repeat it just one more time?
Sure. So I love that question. And it's a hard question. I mean,
It is.
we are the only university in America that I think has 5 different instructional modes. Most universities have gone with either face-to-face or remote, but they don't have all these other things in between. So this is a little bit complicated. So they are traditional, which means that you can attend class, be in a classroom, masked with a faculty member who's masked. You are socially distanced from the people that are in the classroom with you. You could choose, if you enroll in a face-to-face class, to attend asynchronously or synchronously, which means that you can either be in the classroom, you can be watching live stream through Teams, or you can be attending asynchronously. So that's traditional. The second one is hybrid. Hybrid means that half the time you're in the classroom, half of the time you're online. So you rotate between the classroom and online, but the online is live. So you can watch it streaming, or you can choose to be asynchronous, and you can go and get the recording link and watch it asynchronously. The third one is the one that is most complicated for students. It is called flexible. Sometimes it's called high flex, but this is the one where the class is broken into groups, and the groups are rotating in the classroom. So let's say, for example, you have a class of 60 students, and you might be broken into thirds, and every third week you are in the room. But at any time, you can choose to watch it streaming through Teams, or you can be asynchronous. For all 3 of those, which are face-to-face, if you decide to be asynchronous, on the first day of class, you need to let your faculty member know that you are attending asynchronously. Now, Angela, for a flexible class, a student has to make actually 2 choices when they register, correct?
Correct.
So can you talk about, if you are enrolling in a flexible course, you have to choose 2 things in the registration process. So Angela, would you explain what those 2 things are?
Yes. When you're enrolling in the flexible class, you have to choose the main section. That is the usually 001, 002, 501. You have to choose that section. And then there will be a secondary section listed in the class attributes. You'll see it. It says you must choose 201, 202, or 203. One or something like that. You
Angela,
have to
can
choose
I ask
both.
a question about that?
Yes.
Because we've received this question a lot about the flexible. Does that secondary section usually say non-enroll next to it?
Yes, it will
Yes.
say non-enroll.
Great
Because
question.
you can't be in it by itself. It won't let you just enroll in that. And people have tried to enroll in the secondary alone, and it gives you an error. So when you are enrolling, and there are instructions on UTD's website, so it gives you a full rundown on how to see. It shows you picture by picture, but you enroll in the primary section and the secondary section at the same time. And then that's it. Then you'll see that they'll both be on your account, on your schedule. The first one is always the enrolled section of the primary, and then you'll see the non-enrolled, which is your time, your days and times that you go into the classroom.
Now,
So you have to have both.
Even if you choose that, you could still let the professor know you want to be asynchronous. Yes. Even if you say you're going to rotate on the second Tuesday or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, Norma, may I have a grade for the answer to that question? Did I get an A minus, or a B plus?
I'm going to go with A plus, since we do offer that here at UT Dallas.
Thank you very much.
And I also went ahead in the chat, did also mention the three course modes that you mentioned were face-to-face, and included a link to the UT Dallas website where it shows all the different course modes. And then I also provided the website that Angela talked about that has the step-by-step instructions on enrolling in a flexible course mode.
Thank you, Norma. You get an A plus too.
Thank you.
I feel like Oprah Winfrey. You get an A plus, and you get an A plus.
Can you make it cards?
There's a follow-up.
So Angela, I'm enrolling in my flex course. I enroll in the main section, the 501 section. I enroll in 201. Mm-hmm. How do I know when my class date is? When do I know what my in-class time is?
So in the 201, you will see, if you click on it, you have to click on the class. So a lot of people don't click on the courses to see all of the course details when they enroll. They just enroll. Always click on the course details. It will give you exactly when you're going to meet in the classes. They list a long line of dates and times. That's the first place to look. You'll also see it in course lookup. It's the same information is there, but you have to look at the details. If you're having issues with it, of course, you can ask the instructor, like, I think I'm meeting on this date. They can see on the roster when you're going to be there. But look at the course details. Always click that first. And then I would recommend that you look at your schedule planner. That probably will have it as well. A lot of graduate students don't use schedule planner because it's a smaller degree. Mostly undergraduates use it a lot, but you do have schedule planner there for you, so you can see your schedule there as well.
Angela, I'm expecting a seagull to just like swoop down over you any minute, and I'm just so disappointed that I don't see that.
There are a lot of them on Lake Michigan.
So back to the Frank Lloyd Wright house. What does the wizard tell us is the next question?
For one of the courses that this person is trying to register for, they have already completed the prerequisite in summer, but for some reason, they still cannot register. It is giving them an error.
Oh, great question. Angela.
Mm-hmm. What is the class?
So I do not know that, but
there are issues if it is BUAN or MIS 6341. There is an issue that the class does not have OPRE 6301 listed as the prerequisite as it should. We have contacted scheduling to update that, so we're just waiting for them to do so. So
and
if that's
the course, the memo.
She did sign the memo.
I signed the memo, so just hold on, you guys. That will be fixed momentarily.
And if it happens to be go ahead.
I'm sorry. You can contact JSOM GR Advising, and we can look to see why you're not able to enroll. Sometimes the sections will have some weird thing going on within Galaxy that we don't know why it's happening either, but we can find out. And if you meet the requirement, we can at least enroll you, and then we can find out why it's not working.
So I want to just share a fun fact on Wednesday, November the 4th with everybody, and especially if you are an international student listening to us this morning. But this is also true for just local and domestic students as well. People are always like wondering, why do we call things Galaxy and why do we call things Orion and what is this all about? Well, UT Dallas has a, if you go back to the origin of UT Dallas and how UT Dallas was founded, it was founded by 3 of the people that established Texas Instruments. They started it as a graduate kind of research institute way back in the early 1960s. And there was a lot of preliminary research work that was done for the space industry. In fact, we even had somebody who was an early astronaut who was here at UT Dallas early on. So we have a mascot. Our mascot is TMOC, because we are the Comets. You know, some people are the Trojans, some people are the Longhorns, but we are the Comets. We fly through the galaxy at a very rapid pace, and we are brilliant. So therefore, we are the Comets, and our mascot is TMOC. TMOC is spelling comet backwards. Isn't that exciting? If you happen to see TMOC, he's a little terrifying. He looks a little bit like a Japanese, what do you call that?
Like an anime character?
An anime character. He's got kind of this flaming, he has flaming hair that people just think is a little bit like orange, but that's really the flames of a comet, is his hair.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you hear Angela talk about Galaxy and Orion, these are university systems that students and administrators and faculty use that are following the space theme of the University of Texas at Dallas. So wasn't that a fun fact? Norma, the next question.
So the next question is, you were talking about earlier with Dr. Widdifield about a class, OPRE, I believe it was 6301, getting turned into a face-to-face. This person is a management science program, in the management science program. And they said, what about core courses for management science? They are all offered remote or online course modality. Can they be offered face-to-face?
So isn't OPRE 6301, that is a core for management science.
Yes,
so that would fulfill that. So if we have any management science students who are listening this morning who are coming from another country, be it France or India or Singapore, China, Vietnam, wherever you may be in the world, that's the class you want to hold on to. And in about 48 hours, it should be on the schedule. It will be a face-to-face mode. And we will put as many students as we need to into that course in order to fulfill that face-to-face. So that, look for that. You can't take care of it today. You may not be able to take care of it tomorrow, but come Friday, you should be able to get into that face-to-face mode. So that should take care of that management science student who asked that question.
The next question, upon getting an internship, will we automatically be enrolled in the internship class even if it is past the last enrollment date?
No. Angela, please answer this really important question. And I assume this is an international student.
Yes. You will not be automatically enrolled. When you do, so the internship is a process. When you submit everything into Handshake, it goes through different departments.
Tell them what Handshake is.
Handshake is the system that we use at UT Dallas, especially JSOM, for your internship. You will upload things into this system so that your program and the JSOM can look at your internship, make sure that it's okay for you to do this, and approve or deny it. If it is approved, it goes through the required offices, and you will then get an email from your program stating that you have been approved for how many credits. All the information is there. It will also tell you that if you want to be enrolled in this class that you have to be enrolled in, if you're especially international, you have to email JSOM GRA Advising to request enrollment and how many credits you want to take for that program's internship.
You must
tell us.
Must.
Yes.
Ask to be enrolled. Once the internship is approved in Handshake, it is your responsibility to see that you get enrolled in the internship class. Folks, this is critically important for an international student. In the process of approval in Handshake, you upload your offer letter, which gives the date that you start, the date that you end, the description of what you're going to do. It goes through the approval process. And as an international student, in order to do an internship and be legally within your immigration status, you must be enrolled in a CPT. That stands for Curricular Practical Training, a fancy three-worded description of what is an internship course. And just as an FYI, this is a bonus answer. You cannot work 1 second before, let's say it's approved, your internship is approved, you get enrolled. You cannot work 1 second before the date that says you can work in the offer letter. You cannot work 1 second after it. Either of those on either end can invalidate your immigration status. So you always want to be very careful about the CPT rules.
Yes.
And
Alrighty.
Angela, I'm sorry, Norma, the internship classes that they have to enroll for falls under the same guidelines and requirements as enrolling for any other class.
Correct.
If you had mentioned, look at the academic calendar. When
Yes.
There are assignments.
Yes, there are assignments. You do have to. So if you are doing a full-term internship, that means that you're going to be in it for 16 weeks. We will enroll you the way we enroll all 16-week classes, full-term classes. If you are approved to do the internship after the deadline ends for that 16-week registration, that's usually late registration, we have to enroll you in the next second 8-week session. So you will be enrolled in the second 8-week section. I would talk to ISSO if you're international about how that deals with your working schedule, because you may be able to do things with them if you're on your visa. But talk to them about your working schedule at that point. But when you're enrolled, we will enroll you in the second 8 weeks, but you will still be enrolled.
All righty. The next question, Dr. Powell, for spring, there are very few remote courses and many courses are turned into online modality. This person wants to know why this is happening since professors are teaching from their home or office in remote mode, and they're wondering if more remote classes can be added.
So I think if you look at the schedule, there may be the individual who asked this question may be confusing their terminology a little bit, okay? So there are a lot of remote classes that are on the schedule. There are some online classes on the schedule. So let's talk about the difference between what is a remote class and what is an online class. But before I get to that exciting explanation, let me just say that the university gave our faculty the ability to choose the mode in which they wanted to teach in. Many of our faculty, for COVID reasons, have chosen remote. Remote is the type of course delivery where the faculty member is either at home conducting that class live from their home office, or they might be in their campus office conducting that class live on Thursday at 2 o'clock. They are also recording that class. So there could, people could be watching that class live. The platform we use is Microsoft Teams. They are also recording that class and then putting that link into what we call e-learning. E-learning is this platform where faculty post course materials and schedules. So for spring 2021, we have a few traditional classroom, that first column. We have a few blended hybrid, the second column. We have a few flexible, the middle column. The great majority of our classes, and Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, are remote. Is that right, David? They're remote.
Yes.
And that means that class is happening on that day at that time, but you can also, and you're watching it streaming through Microsoft Teams and engaging live, or you're watching a link that is put into e-learning. Now, the last category, which is called online, we don't have that many truly online classes that are on the schedule. So how do you tell the difference between remote and online? An online course has a section number that has a W in it, AW in it. There are additional fees that are associated with the purely online class. There is no date and time that class meets. That online class is completely asynchronous. You log into e-learning, you look at the course materials, you follow the calendar. It is completely online. So to go back to the question that a student answered, is that most of the courses we're offering in the spring are remote, but we do have traditional, blended, high flex options, and we are working to make sure that all of our international students have if they are required to have a face-to-face in one of those first 3 modes, that we're making sure that we're getting those students into those classes. So Norma, I'm not sure I answered that question.
You did answer that question. Alrighty, our next question. It again has to do with certain classes and the way that they're being offered. This person says, can we please have BUAN 6320 and OPRE 6332 in one of the face-to-face modes, since they are core courses for most programs?
So I'm going to turn that one over to David. So David, you get to tackle that question. We would like to do that, but we're limited by when the faculty are willing to teach. And there are other options. I'm sure that if you look at the calendar, there are other options of face-to-face classes that you can take, even though those are the ones that you would prefer to take.
Right.
You know, graduate education is a little bit like a free market. You sometimes get to buy what you want when it's offered, and then you sometimes have to wait to buy what you want when it's offered. And that's one of these situations. Quite certain those will be offered in the following semester without any difficulty. We are hoping that once we get beyond this spring and next summer, that we will return to the wonderful world of normal, or in my world, hopefully a better normal. Surely we will have vaccines available, we'll be beyond this global pandemic, and we can return to life as we knew it before the pandemic. And I just want to tell all of our students, we cannot wait, and I know you cannot wait. But having said that, in every challenging situation, there are remarkable silver linings. And I think that this is called upon your school to be very responsive to students, to engage them where they are, to provide oodles and oodles. You can't even know how much time I spend on webinars with students to make sure that they understand all of these. And our program directors are doing the same thing. Our student organizations are thriving in this virtual environment. Our Career Management Center is offering, will at the end of the semester offered over 150 virtual engagement experiences for our students in a virtual world. So when you're working under these constraints, it means that there's a few limitations. So I hope that that you've been called to action to be better and have grown as a result of this. I'd like to think, and I do believe, that we've been called to action to perform and deliver and still give a great education to our students. But it also means that when you're in a situation like this, there are a few compromises, and we can't offer everything the way that we would like to offer it. So David, what do you think? Do you agree?
No, I agree. And I also want to add in, I think that the faculty member and student engagements has increased because of this online environment that we're in. Even if it, and this happens to me, I'm teaching 4 classes right now. My students will reach out to me even during a lecture through Teams and ask for me to please follow up when I'm done. I think that's one of the silver linings in this environment. I want to go back to the student's original question about OPRE 6332, which is cross-listed with the BUAN program. Yes, we recognize that course is only offered in a remote format. Myself and the area coordinator for operations management, Dr. Milan Dewandi, we're constantly working with our faculty members to see if there's any changes. I know that this choice was more of a personal concern for the faculty member who teaches that. But if those changes, we're working directly with Dr. Powell and Angela and the grad team to let them know when these options are going to be available. So can't promise that anything will happen right now, but I can tell you that we are constantly, with Dr. Powell's help, going back to our faculty members and asking them to please consider if there's a possibility.
Yeah, we're turning into quite the negotiators.
We are, and salespeople.
And salespeople, that's right, that's right.
Monica, can you repeat that course that will be switching to a face-to-face option, since that is also a core course for a lot of programs? Can you repeat what that course
I want you
number
to imagine you're at the movie theater, and you know when you're standing in front of the movie theater and you see the marquee up there and you see that the best movie of all times is playing. For me, that's probably Back to the Future. I mean, that tells you how old I am. Or maybe it's, well, I don't know if it's Star Wars or not, but you're looking at that marquee. Well, the marquee has lights, and the lights are saying OPRE 6301. That is our risk class. It's a stats class. It is a core requirement for many of our STEM degree programs. In the next 48 hours, you will see a face-to-face option that is allowed there. Angela, if we get anywhere near cap, David, if we get anywhere near the cap, you need to let me know, because we're going to increase the cap. We're going to make sure that students get that face-to-face class that they need.
So just to give a little bit more to your preview on that, Dr. Powell, that class is going to be capped at 65. It's also going to be held in a flex mode versus traditional, which again gives everyone on this call, and it's really all the students, some more flexibility in getting that face-to-face option and us providing that class to you guys.
Yeah, and if we need more than 65, we'll take care of that as well.
Yes.
We'll handle that.
Thank you very much. Well, those are all the questions that we've received today, which I think we covered a lot of great topics that apply to a lot of our graduate students. So I don't know if you have any closing remarks for everybody.
I have one important announcement for students. If you have not seen your email, or you have been ignoring your cell phone, which I know you do when your mother texts you, please look at your cell phone, please look at your email, because the Jindal School started the JSOM question desk this week. That is a great way for you to be able to give live chat answers to your important questions. You can also email jsomquestions@utdallas.edu. We have got an army of people that are answering those questions to help our students get quicker answers without needing to make advising appointments. So please look back at that text. You can engage the question desk via live chat or through JSOM questions with an S on the end at utdallas.edu, and we will make sure to get the answers to your questions. I just want to conclude by thanking Angela from the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan, and David from the beautiful outside I see a river below you, or a bridge or something, outside of a great German restaurant. And of course, Norma's got to end this webinar because she's got to go let that wooden dog go out and do his business that's over her shoulder there. I need to get my drone down because the operator, might cause me to crash. So we need to move on, but we want you to know that we're available, and we want you to reach out to us, and we care very deeply about your individual success, and we are delighted you came to chat with us this morning. We hope you'll come back the next time we chat. Norma, when is the next time we chat?
It will be on December, give me 1 second. It will be on December the 2nd, again at 8:30, and a second offering at 12.
So come be with us. We're glad to chat with you, and we want you all to be very safe. We want you well, we want you safe, and we send our regards to you, your families, and those folks that you care about. So be in touch with us if we can help, and we will talk to you soon.